Annie.
Lauren.
Thank you so much for coming on to Podcast of the Day. For those of you guys, because you will not know this at all, that Annie is my box owner, my local box around the corner from my house, a nice 10-minute walk, and she's kindly agreed to sit down and have a chat with us about being a box owner in the age of COVID and everything that's happened, the crazy stuff that's happened over the last 4 months.
Yeah.
Because it has been mental, hasn't it? It's thrown your world, I imagine, on its head.
Yeah, completely. I mean, if you'd said to me 4 months ago, this is where we'd be today, with the gym divided into zones, no one allowed to touch each other, no one allowed to share kit, yeah, it's unimaginable. So, yeah, the day that, am I just flying into what I want to say?
Yeah, absolutely.
Cool, awesome. Okay, yeah, the day that we got the government guidance that we had to close that night, it was a real shock. So yeah, here we are today, nearly 5 months later.
Personally, how did that impact you and your partner Lee, who are running this place?
I have to say that, initial shock aside, to start with, actually took a bit of speed out of our lives. And I think for a lot of people it's done that. For a lot of people, we've been able to just sit back a little bit, take a bit of time out, slow things down a little bit, and actually think about what we do day to day. So for a little while, the pace of life was quite nice. Obviously a little worry in the back of our minds, how long is it going to be? Are we going to be closed for a month? Are we going to be closed for 6 months? There were horror stories, I suppose, that coming from other European countries, that we were going to be closed till November. So uncertainty, but we weren't too anxious, and we sort of tried to make the most of the downtime, I guess.
We'll go massively into that later on in the podcast, but let's wind it back. And can you just tell everyone about CrossFit Raeda?
Yeah.
Where did this gym come from and how did you end up running it?
Okay, so this is our second home. Lee and I come from a strength and conditioning background. So we've worked in various sporting arenas. Lee was lucky enough to go to the 2012 Olympic Games with British handball, so that was awesome. And then when we came out the other side of 2012, we were in a sort of, where do we go from here thing. You know, we've reached the pinnacle, or Lee had, and what should we do next? And we'd always dreamed of a strength and conditioning centre, because Olympic weightlifting and pure strength and conditioning was where we came from. But actually, in terms of a facility that pays the bills and brings in lots of people, pure strength and conditioning is a big ask. Now, so that was 8 years ago. Now, if you say to the general public strength and conditioning, they know what you're talking about. And obviously CrossFit is a strength and conditioning program. But at the time, we were deliberating which direction we wanted to go in. We went to Australia for a holiday, and while we were out there, we stumbled upon a brand new CrossFit box and came home and thought, this is what we want to do. We love it. We can put all our strength and conditioning, our Olympic weightlifting into practice, and we can bring the sport of strength and conditioning, or the sport of fitness as we call it in CrossFit, to the general population. And that's where we started. We got a small box, and we opened with 12 members. Within a year, we outgrew it, had a lot of trouble finding new space. Space with parking is tricky. And we
Don't we know?
Don't we know, yeah. So we finally found this place, moved in here, and yeah, we've been lucky. We've gone from strength to strength. CrossFit's an awesome community thing, as you know. So once you begin to gather momentum, you get yourself up and running, you get yourself a good bunch of coaches and a good bunch of members, it builds on its own momentum, I guess. So yeah, we've been lucky. Before COVID, the gym was running very successfully. We had about 10 coaches in total, some part-time, some full-time, including ourselves. And we were in a really good rhythm, and we finally felt like we were settled. This was our business model, and we were rolling.
And then it happened.
It happened, yeah.
So what were the biggest things you learned in terms of running a box? What were the kind of the key things that led to the success of this place pre-COVID?
Pre-COVID. Okay, so we realised that there are a few boxes out there that focus on athletic performance in terms of competition, and they have a reputation for competition, and they have a lot of competitive athletes. For us, we realised that actually the vast majority of CrossFitters, much like the vast majority of the population, are not top athletes. They enjoy exercise in order to be fit, healthy, and have a healthy lifestyle. And that's been our target. Our target has been people that want to train and enjoy themselves. Some people will always scale. Some people will always strive to push themselves towards RX. And I think that for us, our key has been, we've been very lucky, we've got a good community, but our ability to make everybody feel welcome. Doesn't matter whether you're doing strict bar muscle ups or ring rows, you're having a great time and nobody makes you feel bad for the fact that you don't have double unders, for example. So yeah, it's all about just stepping through the door and making everybody welcome.
How did you feel in terms of the community in Essex and the boxes in Essex? Because there are a few kind of local boxes now, aren't there? How did they all kind of welcome you into the scene? Or you were probably one of the first thinking about it.
Yeah, we were. So just down the road of CrossFit Essex, they were one of the very first affiliates in the country. So very, very early on. So they're just down the road. We know their owner from our weightlifting. We're all into our Olympic weightlifting competitions. So we know Keir through those. He's always been very welcoming to us. Further afield, we've always found the other boxes to be very friendly. In general, you want to encourage each other. The more people know about CrossFit, the more people will look for a CrossFit box, the more they will tell their friends about CrossFit. So actually, a competing box down the road isn't necessarily a competition to you. It's an opportunity for their marketing to benefit you. So we have to look at it that way.
And I guess from the beginning, it was as much about providing a place for CrossFitters as it was also about Olympic weightlifters.
Absolutely. So, as you know, we've got a very strong weightlifting community. Our weightlifters love their pure weightlifting. We have quite a few who compete, just friendly competitions, local competitions. We have some masters guys that go to more regional and national competitions. We have a thriving weightlifting community. We're a British weightlifting affiliated club as well, and that's an important facet for us, particularly for Lee, because he loves his technical weightlifting. And I think that that's one area that you and I have both seen in the last 5 years, whatever, really come on in CrossFit. In the early days, most CrossFitters struggled with the weightlifting. Now, when you look at a competition, the weightlifting is awesome. The weightlifting is a pleasure to watch. And a lot of top CrossFitters are international weightlifters as well now.
Yeah, Tia Claire Toomey winning the gold medal at the Commonwealth Games in 2016.
Absolutely.
Best example ever.
Yeah, absolutely. So yes, from our point of view, our weightlifting community crosses over with our CrossFit community, but we also do have some weightlifters who are just here for the weightlifting.
What's it like running a box with your husband?
Interesting. I think in general it works really well because he knows who runs the place.
You.
He knows who makes the decisions.
You.
Yeah. And he follows my rules and it works. So I am the bossy one. I am the bossy one.
Do you find yourself taking different roles in terms of the coaching? Lee obviously taking more of the Olympic side, you taking more of the CrossFit side?
I would always defer to him on the coaching side, how we periodise our programme, how we plan our programme. He very much takes the lead on that sort of thing. And also I would say to a certain extent, he takes the lead on creating atmosphere. I think that's his bit of fun, you know, his dreadful taste in music and that sort of thing. He takes the lead on that side of it, and I come from more a business background more than a pure sport background. So yeah, my organisational bossy skills do have their place.
So when we're thinking now, bang, COVID, everyone's life has just been turned around. How did his ability to quickly understand reprogramming and your business ability help in those early days?
I think one of the things that we've probably been a little bit guilty with in this business is that you build a community, and I'm digressing for a reason, you build a community and you become a family, and we call ourselves a CrossFit family, and then the difficulty sometimes is drawing the line between business and friendship. So that can be tricky sometimes. So for us, I know a lot of boxes from a business point of view, there was a support your box campaign, let's keep your box open. We're all small businesses, we all have overheads. So I was trying to manage the financial side of it. How much can we ask people to support us? How far can we go? Some boxes are financially very strong, could freeze everybody's membership and know that they would still come out the other side. Other boxes were asking for full membership or nothing. So there was, I was sort of making financial decisions. How can we manage this? We obviously had some government help. So there were decisions to be made along those lines. What Lee's focus was keeping our programme running. how could we make sure that although we had so many weightlifters at home without a bar, how could we build a strength and conditioning program specific to those weightlifters to keep their power production going? How could we keep them prepared for the day we could reopen? How could we? The CrossFit was a little easier in a way, because CrossFit can be very randomised, very conditioning based, and we can add strength and load with various movements. The weightlifting, there was a lot more finesse that had to go into that program. So I guess they were our roles. Lee was, how do we keep community? How do we keep the program running? Mine was more, how do we keep the doors open?
So let's go down Lee's track. Yes. Initially. How did he keep the program running?
So we had our coaches in place. So specifically 2 of our coaches stayed on board and delivered our Zoom sessions to our CrossFitters. Lee very much took ownership of the weightlifting sessions, which a lot of our CrossFitters jumped in on as well. And he wrote a program that gave them exposure to a lot of stuff that we don't normally either have the time for or perhaps the inclination to do, because we've got bars in our hands. So he was coming up with a lot of plyometric drills, a lot of very challenging core drills, and just trying to put a lot of variety. So researching techniques and things. He's always interested in, how are Chinese weightlifters training? What are different people doing? In the same way in CrossFit, you can't look at how Clock Off trains, for example, because we're not Clock Off. We can't train like Clock Off. But actually, you can look at some of the drills he uses and adapt them for yourself. So I think that, he just tried to keep variety and motivation going. And also bring them together. Just by bringing them together on Zoom 3 times a week, or however many, 4 times a week, however many times you did it, there was a sense that they were still weightlifters, even though half of them didn't have a bar.
And they used to chill out afterwards, didn't they, and have a chat?
Absolutely.
Because Lee loves a chat.
He loves a chat. So, we have a cabin at the bottom of our garden. He'd be in the cabin and I'd be at the window tapping on my watch. So, he loves a chat and they love a chat. But that's CrossFit. That's a box. That's community. And I think the same could probably be said for a lot of weightlifting clubs as well. It's the people around you that make the experience what it is.
Have you had feedback from those sessions? What have people told you now?
Yeah. We've had great feedback at the time, and then since then, that particularly they loved the variety that they could get. It wasn't all, there were, don't get me wrong, there were a lot of squats and burpees and down-ups and that kind of stuff in the CrossFit program, because we were limited. But they just loved the variety, the opportunity to try new things. So that was important. And I think Lee enjoyed the challenge of coming up with something different again. So,
Retrospectively, when you look at it, with your background as PTs, do you think you would have had a similar kind of relationship with people during this period had it been you and your PTer as opposed to you and your CrossFitters or your weightlifters? Yeah,
I don't know. I found the online platform difficult. I found it difficult. To have a one-on-one, I didn't actually do it at all during COVID. I do very little PT myself now, but so I didn't do any one-on-one PT. I found that to have a group of people looking at me on Zoom, then that was great. I could feed off them, and we had a great time. I think if I had still been a PT, then I would have had to adapt in a different way. And our coaches here, some of whom obviously have a decent amount of PT, they've had to adapt and find ways to make that work. And actually, even though the gyms now reopen, some of that is still working. A lot of people have enjoyed the virtual PT. We have a couple of members who are working from home now, and actually they've stayed with virtual PT because they can be typing at their desk 1 minute and 3 minutes later they can be in their PT session. 61 minutes later, they're back at their desk. So it's cut out travel time, it's given them that little window. So I think there is obviously massive opportunity for the virtual PT, virtual training. I'm a bit older than some of our coaches. I think I would have found it hard. But on that, do you think there's a kind of a space opened up now to bring virtual into the day-to-day running of a box? Massively. So I do know that there are a few boxes. We haven't gone down that route, but there are a few boxes who have a virtual membership, and they've set themselves up within the gym so that every class will be on Zoom and you can jump in and join that class. And it's something that we did talk about, actually. Before we reopened, we spoke about the fact that we would have Zoom running from every class. And you've almost actually reminded me that we haven't done it, but it's something to think about. I say I'm a little bit old-fashioned. I like people here. I like to watch them, look at them. We like to program for all the stuff we have in the box. So it does bring another dynamic, and there are boxes, I'm sure, that are doing it successfully. This is the program in the box today. We have the rig, we have the rings, we have the space. The guys who are at home, this is your variation of it. And I guess at the moment for me, the excitement is having people back here.
Yeah.
And I feel perhaps it detracts from what we can offer the people here if I'm also trying to think about a new market that I've opened at home. But I've no doubt there are people out there doing it very successfully.
So jumping back, we followed Lee's track.
Yeah.
So what was your role and challenges when COVID hit?
So initially, looking through overheads, what do we need? What can we do without? How can we hone down our expenses while we have massively reduced income? I think, like a lot of boxes, we were very fortunate that we had some very, very committed members who had continuing wages, working from home, being paid in full, who turned around and said to us, we're happy to pay you. We want the box to be there when you come back. And so that was awesome. Without those people, I couldn't guarantee that we would be here today. So the government grant was an awesome help, but it didn't cover everything. So my job was to look at the overheads, think about those people that were happy to help us, and then hopefully now we can repay them for that help that they gave us at the time, and also try to accommodate those people who were messaging me and saying, I am really sorry, I really want to be a part of the box, but I'm on 0 hours, I've been furloughed on 0 pay, and various people with their own businesses who were really badly affected. So we immediately did what we could. We cut everybody's membership down to £10 unless they were happy to help
paying.
and
Yeah.
keep paying more. In hindsight, was that too low? Perhaps, on the basis that we were doing a lot of Zoom and all our kit was in other people's houses. So perhaps I should have been more business-minded. Perhaps we should have rented kit out. We did rent out some cardio kit. I don't know. I'm happy with what we did. I have a very strong, do the right thing, pay it forward, do what you can to help others, and everything will come full circle. So I didn't feel comfortable asking people to pay a full membership when we weren't open. We couldn't provide the service that they were paying for. Was super grateful to those that felt they could still support us, but for us, taking our membership right down to the bare minimum was the right thing to do.
And the nicest thing was actually the people who continued supporting you.
Absolutely.
There was a huge percentage of them, wasn't there?
Yeah, we were
Which is
very
awesome.
lucky. We had about 30% of our members who still paid in full, and they were our saviours. Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
And was the rent still the same?
Yeah.
So you weren't eased at all by still having to pay. What else did you had? What were your constant outgoings?
So rent, insurance, stayed in full. What else are our overheads? Rates. Our rates are very low. We're very lucky here. Our rates are very low, just over £100. So that there's no business rates at the moment. So that was a small saving, but not much. So we committed to our two, the coaches that worked for us the most, who are self-employed. We committed to carry on paying them. Wages and rent were our biggest overheads. So things like insurance, music licenses, different things like that carried on. We hope we might be able to get some music license back, but who knows? Music license is a tough one. A lot of our overheads carried on, but we've come out the other side.
It's just interesting, isn't it? Because I guess from onlookers, you don't think about all the little outgoings
Yeah.
that gyms have. You kind of just think, oh, rent or staff wages,
Yes.
but it's so much more than that in the scheme of things.
Yeah, there are lots of little extras. We have certain things we have to pay for here. Electricity bills, we obviously didn't have the lights on, so we could take that down a little bit. But yeah, it just all adds up, because initially, exactly, I thought, well, it's just rent, that'll be fine. But actually, when you go down the list, then, yeah, you do have to carry on paying certain things. So it all adds up. But I say, luckily, And I think the vast majority of boxes, from what I see and hear, have come through this, but sadly there have been losses.
Yeah, I think I've only come across 2 losses, which is in the scheme of things amazing. And I mean, I'm sure you agree with me, isn't it not down to the fact that it's a very community-based
Absolutely, yeah.
service at the end of the day.
Yeah. And a lot of people were willing to stay with and help their box. And I think that box owners try in general to go the extra mile. They feel connected to their community and they feel they want to provide what they can, and the community recognises that, which is amazing. And during COVID there were days that I cried because I was sad, but there were also equally days that I had a little tear because I just received some of the loveliest messages that said, you know, the Zoom lessons are my lifeline. You guys are keeping me sane, and just seeing your friendly faces and getting out in the garden and jumping up and down like a crazy thing for an hour 5 times a week is just so good for my mental health. So yeah, it was a very emotional time for lots of different reasons, not only just for the sheer wow of it. Who ever thought we'd be wearing masks and queuing up outside shops?
Yeah.
Scary.
Agreed.
Yeah.
How did it build the relationships between you and your coaches who you continue to support?
I think that for us it was very much the right thing to do by our coaches. The vast majority of our coaches are part-time who have a full-time profession somewhere.
Yeah.
And I think that's quite common within CrossFit. You know, someone who's passionate about weightlifting, loves weightlifting, does their qualifications, has been lifting for 6 years or so, and then begins to do some coaching. And so we've groomed a lot of our coaches from within and brought them up to that standard. But we did have in particular 2 coaches, personal trainers, instructors who were self-employed, hourly paid, full-time coaches, and it's the right thing to do. The government was helping us by giving us a grant. We were asking our members to help us by supporting us. It would only have been fair for us to pay that forward to those coaches that really needed some support at that time. And I hope that for us that's I can't say it's brought us some loyalty, because I think we already had loyalty, but yeah, I think it has most certainly been appreciated. And you know, in particular, one of our coaches was in here at times with his girlfriend, painting and doing odd jobs for us. And so yeah, I think that a common bond is built when you help somebody and they help you.
And of course, while this is all going on, to add insult to injury, World CrossFit basically imploded.
Yeah.
So it was just like, oh, we've got this huge challenge to face. And then, oh, wait, we've got over that mountain. There's another one.
Yes.
Okay, so obviously, if you listen to this podcast, you will know about this, but we'll just go a quick recap anyway. So Greg Glassman put out a very racist tweet, backed it up with more racist tweets. Then there was a podcast that then accused Greg Glassman of actually not being particularly racist, but being exceptionally sexist. And the CrossFit world blew up.
Yes. Yep, exactly.
So how did that impact a small kind of box in the country, in the centre of Essex, where kind of it's quite a gentle, kind of quiet area where not a lot happens?
Yeah. We're not in a city. We don't have a hugely diverse community purely because of geography, because of our demographic, the population around us. And I think that a lot of our members, I don't know, maybe 40% of our members didn't actually even know what was going on. Because if you're not following on social media, you CrossFit because you enjoy being here, not because you are a passionate CrossFit
sport follower. Yeah.
So I would say some members didn't have a clue what was going on, but for others, it was a hugely contentious issue and a very difficult time. So yeah, how to sort of sweep someone's legs from under them when they're trying to stand on one is, to put it mildly. It was a very difficult time when the CrossFit world jumped and there was a lot of knee-jerk reaction going on, but there was also a lot of consideration, and it did seem that there was a lot more behind what we saw in the front, because in the beginning, as you know, there were comments that perhaps the sentiment behind the comments made wasn't as bad as it appeared, but actually as time went by, more and more detail came out, and yes, the CrossFit world in particular and its owner were proven to or shown to be, what should we say, not very inclusive.
Yes.
Is that the right phrase? Yeah, not very inclusive. So for us, we sat back and we looked a little bit, saw what was happening. We feel very strongly that the whole world should be embracing diversity. We want our box to be somewhere that anybody could walk into, whatever their ability, disability, race, religion, ethnicity, sexuality. This is a happy place. This is a happy place, and we all support each other. So we felt that we had to stand up and make a stand. So we made the decision that we were no longer CrossFit Raeda. We were Raeda, and we would rebrand. So we made that decision. We changed our social media profiles. Rebranding and changing our whole website was going to be a slightly longer task. We rely on other people to do things like that for us. But initially we made the stand and we removed ourselves from the CrossFit brand initially. The feedback from our members was incredibly supportive, very proud that we'd made that decision, very pleased that we'd taken that stand. But we did also make it clear to them that our affiliate, because you pay an annual affiliate fee, our affiliate was paid up until mid-October, and we had until that time to see whether the CrossFit world would react, or CrossFit HQ would react. And it was quite startling, actually, that so many boxes took the decision that we took. Very quickly, our UK affiliate rep, Ollie Mansbridge, set up a Zoom meeting for every CrossFit affiliate owner. I can't remember how many of us there were on that meeting, but there were pages and pages of Zoom. And it
all
was
on mute.
All on mute, yeah.
That is a big old Zoom.
Not all the time, but yeah, all on mute. And that was an incredible meeting, and it was wonderful just to see the faces of people that I'd only seen on Facebook groups and forums and things. So that was a really cool time to see people, but also to hear the passion behind people. And so many of them, I think we were probably 50-50, those who had moved away and those who were adamant that CrossFit could change. And it was just really good to hear everybody getting together, Ollie leading us all and just reassuring us that actually, probably for the first time ever, CrossFit HQ were listening. And that inspired me to hope that CrossFit could change and we could still be a CrossFit affiliate, because to me, all of this was built on the CrossFit name.
Yeah.
Yes, CrossFit doesn't necessarily define us because it's us that's built it, but we use the CrossFit name. We come from the CrossFit genre, I guess. And so, yeah, I would have been sad if we couldn't stay CrossFit, but I'm delighted that the change has come so swiftly. One of the big things was that it's still the same if Greg Glassman owns 100% of CrossFit. And that was going to be a big sticking point for a lot of people. But the sale seems to have gone through amazingly quickly.
Yeah.
Incredible. That really was shocking. And the moves at HQ have been amazing. And to have met so many seminar staff and people that work at HQ who are inspiring people, who want to improve CrossFit. They want CrossFit to be the great brand that it always was. So yeah, we are proud to be part of the CrossFit brand. And yes, we've rebranded as Raeda, but CrossFit Raeda sits within that brand, absolutely. Not a shadow of a doubt for us now. CrossFit has proven itself able to adapt really quickly in the face of what was probably quite shocking at the time.
And I guess a lot of the feedback that's come out with Eric Rosa taking over is that it's a much more communicative relationship now between CrossFit HQ and the affiliates. Have you found that?
Oh, absolutely. And one of the things that came out at the Zoom meeting was that the only email I ever received, or any other affiliate owner ever received, was your reminder to pay your affiliate fee. We never had another email unless we signed up for the CrossFit email of the day, which went to everybody. Yeah. Anybody can sign up for the email of the day. So yeah, there was no communication. And in that Zoom meeting, it did transpire that communication by email to affiliates was frowned upon. So we were expected to go to the main page and get information from there. So, for example, the Support Your Box campaign, one of my members messaged me about it before I saw it.
Really?
So, yeah. So there were a lot of things that members would find out before I found out, ask me a question, and I'd be on the back foot trying to find out for myself. Whereas now, a much more open communication, regular emails telling us what's happened, what we're working towards, regional affiliate reps being appointed. So absolutely, yes, it feels far more about the affiliate now.
Yeah, absolutely. Did you reach out to FFU and the IF3 teams to investigate those avenues?
So I looked into what they did and looked particularly at the FFU, because quite a few of our local boxes, two in particular, box owners that I'm quite friendly with, they have unaffiliated from CrossFit completely, and they have affiliated with the FFU. And yeah, they seem very happy with the
support, I guess,
yes,
and the offering.
Support, exactly.
Yeah.
What they're doing and what they're trying to do to move forward. And as I say, I feel that we can both benefit one another. CrossFit is functional fitness. So for both arenas, there must be benefit in having federations supporting the sport.
But you're sticking wholly with CrossFit.
We're CrossFit, yeah. Yeah, we're happy to be with CrossFit. I say our affiliate renewal is in October. I see no reason why we won't renew. We have members who, for them, it's important to be part of a CrossFit box. The word CrossFit is important to them, and I understand that and I appreciate that. What we do within the box is not changed by whether we have the CrossFit name above the door, but when it comes to the open, people love to be part of a box participating in the open. And yeah, so for us, I think at the moment it's an important facet of what we do.
And the best thing about all of this is that we reopened to a certain extent at the start of last week. I can't even remember. I've been here every day.
Saturday, yeah.
I've been in here so often.
I know.
That is all molded into one.
That's your corner over there.
Yeah, all there. Yeah, so what were the big kind of building blocks to getting this place back open?
So during lockdown, we were sort of in and out doing a little bit of odd maintenance, as I think most box owners were, but also at the same time mindful of, when are we actually going to be open? Shall I clean the floor? Because we might not be open for 3 months and it's going to get dirty again. So we were doing odds and ends and maintenance. The big thing for us was safety, because I'm actually not in a huge hurry to put myself at risk, and also not in a huge hurry to put everybody here at risk. And I think there is a little bit of a tendency now for people to think it's all fine, it's all over, let's just train and let's just share bars and but actually we need to be really careful that if we push too hard in the wrong direction, we could be closed again, as we're seeing in some states in America. So for us, it was all about stepping back, looking at the space we've got, how can we make it safe, how can we create space between zones. So we've created great big zones where people have this whole section to themselves with a platform, with a rig, with rings.
Piece of cardio kit.
Yeah, piece of cardio kit, their own bars. It really limits. So according to government guidelines, we can have 25 people in here. We're having 7 plus a coach. And I'm really comfortable with that. It gives our coach a whole swathe of space to themselves. And that's really important to me, that we're not asking our coaches to put themselves at risk. So for the moment, 7 people, 7 zones. Households can share a zone. The zones are super big. Obviously, you and Mark can share a zone.
Yeah.
So we had to think about how we organised ourselves. We need to get a little bit more kit. We need a bit more rig for some of the zones so that everybody has everything they need. And I think every box has had to really think on their feet. There are boxes where you can't give everybody a section of rig. So you have to think a little bit about which days you do your pulling and which days you work on the rig and your gymnastics. So it's challenged us all in different ways. But then if you step back, when we challenge ourselves, we grow and improve. So you have to try and look at the benefits. So we're certainly having to think on our feet a little bit. We're fortunate that we have enough space. We have 7 people in a class. We've gone from 6 classes a day to 9 classes a day, which is a challenge financially. But yeah, hopefully in time we will gradually be able to increase capacity.
This might be a really little thing, but how much financially is just buying all of the extra cleaning equipment?
It hasn't been too bad. No? It hasn't been too bad. We're really lucky. We invested in a steam floor scrubber before lockdown, about a month before lockdown. That was the biggest. If we had bought that purely for COVID, that's a big hit for us. But we invested in that before. So that has been our saviour. That just takes water. That's low wonderful. Cost day to day. Other than that, it's a lot of antibacterial spray. We've come away from the wipes because yeah, that would be very expensive. A packet of antibacterial not medical grade, alcohol wipes went from £6 on Amazon to about £28 on Amazon.
Wow.
If you could get them.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm just getting hold of it.
So we've come away from that. My washing has gone through the roof because we've gone for microfiber cloths, sterilising fluid.
It's really funny because Lee was actually complaining about that when I was in at lunchtime. The washing machine's always going.
Yeah, the washing machine's always going. But yeah, sterilising fluid is our saviour. Sterilises everything, and then I chuck it in the washing machine just to freshen it up. So it hasn't been too bad. We've had to buy extra stuff, extra sets of rings, extra gymnastics mats, we've got some extra bars and discs coming just so we can make sure everybody has their own. But yeah, it's worked so far. For us, it hasn't been too bad. I can imagine for some boxes, there's been a lot of expenditure. We're on the waiting list with Concept 2, please, for some more cardio kit, bikes and whatever. So yeah, hopefully when that comes through, because yeah, the world went crazy.
You just bought everything.
You couldn't buy a dumbbell for love nor money.
Yeah, absolutely. It's terrifying.
Absolutely crazy. Absolutely crazy. Yeah, we had members paying £200 for a £50 dumbbell.
Which is heartbreaking, really, isn't it?
Heartbreaking, but you know, a necessity. If you want to train and you need to train for your mental well-being, then absolutely, £200 dumbbell's not
good
the end
investment.
of the world. Absolutely, yeah. So costs not too bad. We did some refurbishment that we needed to do anyway, and yeah, cleaning, painting, it's not the end of the world. Not the end of the world.
Is there a sense that things are kind of getting back to manageable levels and things that, I wouldn't say normal because it's not,
No.
but it feels like it's getting back to where you left it?
In terms of our day-to-day running of the gym?
Yeah.
No, nowhere near.
Nowhere near.
Nowhere near. We're less than a week in. Reality.
Well, that is true.
We're less than a week in. This is nowhere near normal. People stand outside, have their temperature taken by a coach in a mask, then they come into their zone. They stand around the board socially distanced. There's no high fives.
It's so funny, isn't it? Because I was so used to that because the last couple of months, that actually this feels even though these are in place, it feels fairly normal.
Yes, it does. I guess you're right. It does feel fairly normal. It doesn't feel strange. We're used now to not giving anyone a hug or a high five.
Yeah.
But yeah, if you think back, this isn't normal. This isn't normal. We were squatting today. Well, you're going to be squatting soon.
In approximately an hour,
Approximately an hour. We're squatting today. People share bars. You know, if you squat the same amount as Lindsay, you'll share a bar.
Yeah.
You share a bar. No bar sharing now.
No.
No bar sharing. You are by yourself. We did bench press the other day. No one can spot you.
Yeah, I found that strange, you know.
Yeah.
I did find that strange because it was Mark doing something ridiculous because he loves his bench, doesn't he? My other half, Mark, loves his bench. And he was doing something way too stupidly heavy for the amount of reps that you're doing, as he does. And I was like, babe, you've got to rethink that because no one's going to come and save you. That's what's going to fall on your chest, and that's it.
Absolutely. I was in class, and our coach Ashley said, you know, if you crush yourself with the bar on your chest, I have to put my mask on before I come and rescue you. So think about it before you do it. No, this is nowhere near normal.
And we shouldn't really laugh about it, but it's kind of, because I'm like giggling over Mark, but well, you know, what else do you do?
Yeah, you have to. And that's where coaching comes into it now as well, because your coaches have to be aware of the risks of what you're doing, because there can't be somebody next to you spotting you or supporting you. We have to change the way we teach some of our skills, because I can't spot somebody and help them through the transition of a muscle up. I can't get that close to them. I can't, you know, show them where to move their body to get into the right position for a handstand. So we have to adapt our coaching a little bit. So yeah, I guess it feels wonderful to be back in the gym, and the atmosphere is amazing, but it isn't normal by any stretch. But then maybe this is the new normal. We hope that we gradually, you know, as the weeks go by, be able to just bring some more people in. Maybe in a zone you can have a social bubble as opposed to a household.
Yeah.
You know, people that have made a social bubble, maybe they can train together, and we'll gradually get back to capacity, because there is a buzz from having a full gym.
Yeah, for sure.
So yeah, we'll have to see, but yeah, it's not normal. It's not normal.
And from the business side, is there still a big variation? Have you from pre to post?
Financially?
Yeah, financially.
100%. So yeah, so our members all pay their membership on different days of the month, depending what day of the month you joined.
Yeah.
And you may have moved it to to suit your payday. So we work on a rolling sort of monthly figure. So yeah, July, we really hoped, as a lot of boxes did at the beginning of July, we were going to be opening, and we were thinking, yes, July will be a financially rewarding month, but that didn't happen. So now we're just looking to August to bring us back up onto a level pegging. There are members we've lost. We've lost members because their circumstances have changed. They can't afford a CrossFit membership at the moment, or they don't feel comfortable coming back into the box yet because they have a family member who is high risk, and they can't put that family member at risk by coming back in. Yeah. So we are definitely down a bit on membership. But the good thing is that because of what we do in CrossFit and the way we do it, the way we have a booking system, the way we have a dedicated zone, we have a huge number of new membership inquiries, which is really encouraging.
Has there been a lot?
Absolutely.
Just because I suppose people being locked at home, it's an escape.
And it's been a big part of our marketing now coming back, because your Globo gym where you might go and do bench press and leg press and
constantly sharing one machine with a load of people you've never met before.
You finish on the shoulder press and you move on and somebody else comes and uses it. For a lot of people, that's a bit worrying. Other people's ability to socially distance. Whereas here, once you're in your zone,
you stay in your zone.
You stay in your zone, and you can very easily go to the coach and say, could I be on the end because I just want to keep away from people? And so that's been a big part of our marketing now.
And there's a lot of deep cleaning.
And we have downtime. So now, between 2 and 4:15, the gym's empty. We've steam scrubbed the floor, and we've been able to sanitize things. So for us, that has brought people in, I think, who like to exercise, but are just a little bit worried about going back to their normal gym, or their normal gym hasn't opened. There are quite a few local authority or municipal gyms that haven't reopened because they would be so compromised. If you had a dance studio that normally held 20, you can't justify a class for 8 people.
I understand. You understand.
So the whole industry has changed, and yes, for us, fortunately, because of what we do and the way we do it, we have been able to generate new members quite quickly as well. So hopefully, we hope that this was going to be our best year yet, but we hope that we will play catch up a little bit and look forward to the next year.
Well, thank you so much for taking the time to run through everything.
Pleasure. Thank you for having me.
I'm pretty sure that we will go and train together in approximately 10 minutes.
10 minutes. Perfect.
Whenever the class starts. But yeah, thanks, Annie.
Thanks, Lauren.
Before we completely jump off this, I will give CrossFit Raeda the chance to sell itself. I'm not sure to how many people listen, probably not millions. But this is our box. It's a very nice box, very kind of family orientated, nice group of people. And you can find us on what social channels?
Social channel. We're on Instagram. We are Raeda. We are on Facebook. Raeda, capital Raeda. And
Raeda spelled R.
Oh, sorry.
A-E-D-A.
R-A-E-D-A.
I only learned the other day what that meant.
So there's a really funny story. So we chose that because there's a lot of CrossFit boxes that follow names from Greek mythology, so we looked. So it's Greek for ancient Greek for coach, but there's a twist. Did you know the twist?
No, I didn't know the twist. I just knew that, but I only found that about 2 weeks ago.
So we thought coach, as in we are coaches. No, bus. We're a bus.
That's actually brilliant. I'm just going to clip this one bit out and put it out on the members group.
Thanks, yeah.
We are bus.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it's We Are Raeda, at We Are Raeda is not on Insta, and
www.crossfitrader.co.uk.
crossfitrader.co.uk. Make sure you check us out. And if you live in the Epping Harlow area, we're here.
See you soon.